Money Management for Beginners and Dummies. Written by Giovanni Richters. Narrated by Tim Cicerelli. Introduction. Do you try to save money for your future, but have more debt than you can handle? Or do you simply want to develop better money management habits? Do you wonder where you need to start or how to manage your finances? If yes, then this is the perfect audiobook for you. The importance of money management should not be overlooked. Money management is a life skill that gives you a 360-degree overview of your finances. It helps paint a picture of your income and provides you with several simple techniques and strategies that you can use to preserve and increase your wealth. For this transformation, you need to learn to manage it effectively and efficiently. There might be several things you want to do in your life. Determination, discipline, hard work, patience, and persistence are invaluable life skills that bring you a step closer to your goal. One ingredient most forget about is the role that money plays. Money might not buy happiness or automatically fulfill all of your goals, but it makes life easier. The inability to manage money properly can increase financial stress and burden. The good news is that it is never too early or late to learn about money management. There are 4 simple aspects of money management you need to concentrate on: budgeting, saving, debt repayment, and investing. You need to keep repeating these 4 steps to achieve financial independence. These steps will help you to reduce your debt, financial stress, and give you a better sense of what you need to prepare. Apart from this, it also teaches healthy spending and saving habits. If you are new to all of this, Money Management for Beginners has all the answers you need. So, why don't we get started right now? Chapter 1. Start with a budget. If you are new to money management, the first thing you need to do is create a budget. This is the first piece of personal financial advice anyone would give. A budget essentially refers to a skeletal framework to determine the best use for the money you earn. After all, it is your hard-earned income. If you don't have a budget in place, you wouldn't even realize when you are neck-deep in unnecessary expenditure. Budgeting helps to establish specific limits for expenditure for responsibility using your money. Creating a budget helps to develop positive spending habits, increase your savings, and make sure that the money in your bank goes exactly where it's supposed to. As a beginner, it can be a little overwhelming to think about all of this. Creating your first budget might seem complicated, but once you go through the different steps and tips discussed in this chapter, you will change your mind about budgeting. Now, let's get started with designing your first budget. Steps to follow. Step 1. Determine your reasons. Before you create a budget, it is important to determine your motivations and reasons for doing the same. In life, it is always important to have a goal because it offers a sense of direction. Without it, the chances of squandering your resources increase drastically. When you set a budget, your finances or worries will reduce. You don't have to live from paycheck to paycheck worrying about every penny you spend. Before you start the process, defining your motivations increases the chances of creating an effective and efficient budget. The reasons also have a significant effect on the financial choices and decisions you make during this process. Common reasons for establishing a budget include repayment of the debt, increasing savings, and reducing overspending. It also offers an opportunity to reflect on all your goals and personal values and break free of the paycheck-to-paycheck mentality. A budget ensures that you always stay on the right track towards attaining your financial goals. Determining your motivations for creating a budget plays an important psychological role in how you handle money. When you start crunching numbers, it increases your emotional investment in the process, improves your motivation to stick to the budget, and reduces the scope of overspending. Step 2. Analyze your spending habits. If you want to establish a realistic budget, you need to pay close attention to your existing spending habits. If the budget is not realistic, you are merely creating a wish list of all that you desire. If you have no idea of where the money goes and the purchases you make, the budget cannot be realistic. Take time and consider your spending habits in the last 30 days. You can use a spreadsheet or a notebook to keep track of all the purchases. If you haven't done this so far, start immediately. Give yourself a month before establishing a budget. Make a detailed note of all your expenses. Whenever you make a purchase, keep the receipt or record it in a journal or spreadsheet. Online applications can be used to help you figure out your spending habits. For instance, apps such as Pocket Guard and Mint can be linked to your bank account and credit cards to track your expenses. Make sure that all the purchases and expenses are labeled accurately for better assessment. Apart from this, use your bank statements and credit card statements to track spending. If you are new to budgeting, chances are you have never really paid any attention to your bank or credit card statement. Now is the time to start doing this. It takes a little while, but the time spent doing this will help create a better budget. Step 3. Create a detailed list of your income. A budget cannot be created without taking into consideration your earning capabilities. While making a note of your income, be realistic and conservative. It means you should always overstate your expenses and understate your earnings. This technique helps you create a budget that considers worst-case scenarios, such as your earnings are less than your expenses. The various sources of income you need to consider are passive income, regular wages or salary, business income, income from investments, and any child support, alimony that you receive. If your income isn't fixed, consider paying yourself a monthly salary. This is really important for freelancers and entrepreneurs. When you know your monthly earnings, you can start budgeting the expenses accordingly. If your earnings are more than the salary you've decided, set it aside for a bad month. The monthly income included in a budget needs to be an average of your earnings. Be conservative while determining the sum. Also, don't forget to tweak the budget depending on any changes in earnings. Step 4. Track regular expenses. Tracking your expenses gives a detailed idea of where your money goes daily. Your budget needs to reflect intermittent expenses such as holidays, birthdays, and anniversary expenses. An ideal budget needs to consider your annual expenses and not just the daily ones. Some irregular expenses you need to remember include insurance premiums, medical charges, vacation and holiday expenses, property and personal taxes, and special occasions such as anniversaries and birthdays. If you don't want to end up incurring holiday debt, consider all these expenses. Use a calendar and previous credit card and bank statements to determine how much you roughly spend on irregular expenses. Step 5. Determine your financial goals. In the first step, you were asked to determine why you want to establish a budget. Now it is time to consider your personal financial goals. Money is a limited resource with multiple uses. Determining your financial goals ensures that you make the most of this precious resource. A few common long-term financial objectives include saving for retirement, creating an emergency fund, repaying major debts, setting up a college fund, saving for your child's future, investing in property, purchasing a vehicle, marriage expenses, and so on. There are no hard and fast rules about financial goals because they vary from one individual to another. The budget should always be aligned with your goals. With your budget, you can determine how much you need to set aside to achieve your goals. Goal setting increases your motivation to achieve the goals. While establishing your financial goals, make sure that they are as specific as possible. For instance, the goal, "I want to be financially independent," is vague. Even though it makes sense, it doesn't describe the steps you need to take or the deadline for achieving it. For instance, if your financial goal is to save for a house, instead of, "I want to save for a house," tweak it slightly to state, "I need $180,000 to buy my dream home by 2030. This goal is specific and time-bound. If your goals aren't time-bound, the risk of procrastination increases. It becomes difficult to figure out your progress while following a vague goal. Setting a financial goal is one of the most important steps of establishing a budget. Step 6. Figure out how much to save. You need to save, invest, earn more, or use a combination of these 3 methods to meet your goals. An efficient